Hello and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the first episode of Book Blind or Right Mind. So once again, welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you decided to click on this video. So today I'm starting a new series that I'm going to do every month this year, which is called Book Blind or Right Mind. This is a title I got from my lovely friend Shauna, so thanks to her for coming up with this stuff. So I am not a rereader, as you might have noticed. It's very, very rare that I reread books because there's just so many good books out there to read, right? But I think that it's time to go back and revisit some of my old favorites and see how they stand the test of time. There are books that I've read several years ago that I remember loving so much, but don't ask me a single question about them because I won't be able to tell you. So in this series, I just really want to kind of go and vlog my experience rereading books that I have loved in the past. As usual, I am sorry about the lighting. I'm in a hotel room, so there's only little I could do. I had to choose between natural light or neutral background, and this is what I came up with, so thanks for bearing with me. So a couple of quick things about this challenge that I've come up with for myself is these are all books that I have read at least 2 years ago, so nothing within the last year, even if I loved it so much. I'm also making sure that these are books I have never reread before because, for example, 11/22/63 by Stephen King, I've mentioned many times, is like my all-time favorite book, but I know I love it because I've read it like 4 times. So these are the kind of criteria I'm sticking to. I actually have like sort of a preliminary list of books that I have picked out for this. And for this first one, we are going to start with City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. Now, I read this before I started my Bookstagram or having like a real internet presence, I guess. So I don't have like a full review for this, but I did finish reading this and posted my review on March 31st, 2020, and this is what I wrote about it. I wish I could give this book 10 stars. It was magic from beginning to end. This is a fun, exciting, tragic, and heartfelt story that I couldn't put down. So that is, just some thoughts on the surface. 10 stars I wanted to give this, so we'll see. We'll see how I feel about it when we finish doing this little experiment. This is about a woman named Vivian who is 19 years old, and it's 1940. She fails out of Vassar College, and her parents send her to New York City to live with her aunt who runs a theater company. She's very eccentric. She's very kind of just out there, whereas her own parents are very straight-laced and traditional, and Vivian kind of finds like a found family there. She is a very talented seamstress, so she like starts working on costumes for the shows and just like really finds a group. But she makes a pretty big error in her judgment, and it kind of brings the downfall of her career. It also, kind of drives her to figure out what does she really want in life. And this book is told with Vivian as a 95-year-old woman looking back on her life and writing to the daughter of someone that she had a very close relationship with, but at the beginning of the book, we have no clue who that is. That is something we find out later. So that is the general synopsis, and I remember loving this book. I read this so much on aircrafts when I was working at the very beginning of the pandemic, and I just have really specific memories of like sitting in the back of the plane trying to make sure I was not near anyone else or any passengers, and like we didn't do any sort of beverage service. We basically got to work and did our safety demo and did our doors, and then we kind of sat. So I remember reading this in like a day of flying, just different flights that I had nothing else to do on. So this is one I'm really excited to get started on. I did get this from the library. I have the audiobook, so I'm hoping I can get through this quick. It is a pretty long book. It's 470 pages, and I think the audiobook's like 17 hours. So, I mean, it's pretty long, but I tend to fly through audiobooks pretty quickly, so hopefully this will be an exciting vlog for you and exciting for me to reread this. So where it started now is I have gotten to only about 9% in so far, and our main character, Vivian, has gone to New York, and her voice as a narrator is just like, I love it. I love it so much. She is so like spunky. She's sort of like quirky girl, but she's so, not annoying. I don't know how to say this. She knows that she's not like the other girls. Wow, I hate that I just said that. She knows that she's different in the way that she thinks and feels than a lot of other girls around her. Like, for example, she knows she doesn't want to like go be a secretary, but also when she was at Vassar, she knows she's not like intellectual or studious and she's just not interested in that. And I can recognize that because I mean, I think I'm pretty smart, but at the same time, I can recognize that a lot of my interests are not necessarily like smart people interests. I don't really have a strong interest in politics for the most part. Obviously, in this day and age, you can't not pay attention, but it's not something that I'm like genuinely drawn to. History, science, like these are just not topics that I gravitate towards for my pleasure reading. But like, I know that I'm like an intelligent human. So I really enjoy that about her character. So at this point, she's gone to New York. She's just met all of like the dancers in the show and kind of like seen the way they live as just a big community. And, not literally like they don't live in the same building or anything, but they they spend so much time together, and this group that just puts on these productions after production, and they're trying to save this theater company. And I don't know, I feel like I'm seeing it through Vivian's eyes, where she gets to New York City and she was just like, this whole world just opened up to her. So far so good, and I will check back in when I have another update. Hello again. So it is the next day. I am back home in Philly and I am so happy to be home. It was a crazy trip. We had terrible storms. So I was leaving Jacksonville, I had to go to Charlotte and then Charlotte to Philly, and there was so much turbulence and it was just so bad. I was a little worried we weren't going to get back last night, but we ended up getting back about 1 o'clock, and so I got home around 1:30ish and crashed. And then my bar studio is doing this challenge where you do 4 classes a week for the month of January and then you like get a prize. So I had to wake up to go to my bar class at 10:15. So I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I'm pretty sleepy. So anyways, you're not here to hear about my life. Let's talk about City of Girls. So I am at 37% now, and it is still really good. I am still really enjoying it. I like think I remembered some stuff wrong. So that's kind of funny to have certain memories and then realize like actually that didn't happen in the book. So that's been kind of funny, but at this point in the story, they have started this production called City of Girls, and it's going to be this theater's like crowning glory. In the past, they hadn't really done anything that was very well respected. Anything good. I mean, it's mean to say, but they say it in the book too. They're like, we do, what do they say? Working class shows for working class people. It's nothing highbrow. It's some comedy. It's some singing and dancing. And so this show, while it is certainly not highbrow, it is more put together. They have like a star in it. So it's not just kind of like people off the street. So yeah, they're getting ready to mount that. And in the meantime, World War II is kind of getting going. So the woman that's going to play the star in this show is a friend of the aunts who Vivian has gone to live with, and she's British, but the Blitz just happened in the UK, so they don't have a home. They have to stay in America because they don't have anywhere else to go. And so I remember really liking the parts that are coming up soon, so hopefully that will still be the case. I'm enjoying it a lot. Let me not give you any indication that that's not the case. I mean, if I was to end the book right here, I would still give it 5 stars. So I'm probably going to read some and then maybe take a nap because I'm a sleepy girl. So I will check back in a little later. See you in a little bit. Okay, so this may or may not be the most boring vlog in the whole world because all it has consisted of is me sitting here talking instead of actually like the things you expect to see in a vlog. But it's been freezing cold. I mean, I know it's way colder other places, but for me, growing up in Florida and living in Philly where it generally doesn't dip below like 35 very often, it's been really cold and it's been snowy, and I've just been like completely avoiding leaving the house. So my B-roll would basically consist of me going from the bed to the couch to my bar classes. I have been going to work out and then like back to the couch or the bed, bathroom, kitchen, you know what I mean? Like it would just be me walking around my apartment, which is just really not as exciting as it sounds. So hopefully you will still stick around for this series I'm doing, because I do think it will be fun once it's not winter and I am not just cozy at home all the time. So I finished City of Girls and it was still a 5-star read for me. There's definitely a lot that I just completely misremembered and forgot. There was a part at the end where it's not really the end, I suppose. It's like maybe 2/3 of the way through, where she goes to put on shows at the Navy Yard for the soldiers or whatever it is during World War II. And I like completely remembered that as like her going to do like productions overseas, like I don't know what it's called, USO tour, is that a thing? I don't really know where that came from. I mean, it's not super off base, but that is how I remembered that. And I remembered it so specifically, like that I was remembering it as my favorite section of the book, that like maybe I'm like crossing wires and there's some other book that does that I'm thinking of, but I really have no idea. But it did end beautifully. I had completely forgotten the ending. So like I think I mentioned this, the book is set, I mean, it's not really written in a letter, but it is a woman writing a letter, but except for certain bits in between you wouldn't really think of it like that. And the beginning is like, oh, I'll tell you what my relationship is to your father, but let me tell you this story. It's all, we got to start at the beginning. And so I had fully forgotten what her relationship was with this woman's father. So that was really cool. I did definitely feel like I was seeing it for the first time again, because this is definitely stuff that I had forgotten completely. Yeah, I still am just so happy with the fact that I still love this. The main character, Vivian, I remembered her just a little differently, but I actually think I like her better than I had remembered her. In my mind, she was like, so she gets into some trouble. She ends up going back to live with her parents, who are just like completely ashamed of her. After the US gets involved in the war, she goes back to New York to do these shows with her aunt and whatever. And so once she's back in New York, she definitely becomes like a way more self-assured and just like, I don't care what you think of me kind of woman, which like I had remembered somewhat, but I thought it was like, I love sex, so I'm going to have sex with whoever. I'm going to do my own thing. I don't want to get married. But I didn't remember her being so, like she starts wearing pants all the time and she cuts her hair really short and like, I don't, like, less feminine outwardly. And, you know, she's still like, I was very beautiful, but I think that she ends up running a wedding dress shop. And she's like, I think it was really helpful to the brides because I wasn't looking like threatening to them in any way. And I don't know, that just was something that I feel like I completely forgot, or maybe, I don't know. But I think I liked her better for it. She also talked a lot about like how men didn't want to marry her because she was so independent and so like, yeah, no, she, as she put it, weird. Like her and this woman Marjorie that she used to buy material from when she was working at the Lily Theater become like sisters, and they live together and they run this bridal shop together, and Marjorie has a baby out of wedlock and they kind of raise him together, and it's just like it's just so sweet and quirky and like definitely a found family scenario, and I did not remember that bit at all. So yeah, this is still a 5-star read. I will still be recommending this for sure, and I'm really happy with my first month of this little challenge that it went so well. So I really appreciate you watching this. I'm so sorry it wasn't more entertaining, but I hope you will stick around. Come see next month's version of this vlog. Hopefully it's a little more vloggy next month, but we'll see. Vlogs have never been my best performing videos, so I'm sure this is going to absolutely bomb, but we will see. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!